Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Reese, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, welcome into a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show right here on YouTube. You can, of course, find us on podcast form. Of course, if you don't mind, download, subscribe. If you haven't already done so, we're going to talk to Jacques coming up at 7:30 this morning as LSU baseball gets back into the win column and improves to 19-2 after a 10-4 win yesterday over Central Arkansas. And Jordan Thompson was hero last night as he hit a bomb deep into the Baton Rouge Alex Box Stadium night to give LSU the lead and never look back. We'll talk about it with Jacques coming up here at 7:30 this morning. We're also a day closer to the women's game playing inside of the Sweet 16. Tigers are going to tip off Friday against Utah. That'll be at 1:30 on Friday afternoon. We'll talk about that. Anybody watch the World Baseball Classic final last night between Japan and USA?
I haven't watched any of that.
Walk off. Japan walked off.
Really?
America. He had over $1 billion starting lineup.
Ohtani struck out Mike Trout to finish the game.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
Yep.
I mean,
What did you say, money-wise?
the starting lineup for Team USA was over $1 billion in salary.
That's sick.
Mike Trout makes
Right.
500 himself.
Right?
Yeah.
But I
He's a
mean,
big
like, you
chunk
go
of
down
that.
the list, there's a couple of 300, 100, 200.
250.
I think Kyle Schwarber was like the lowest guy on the team with like 85 million. Who hit a home run.
Yeah.
But pretty dramatic fashion in the way that it ended last night in the World Baseball Classic. I know we never talk a lot of Major League Baseball, but it was cool to see the world on display with baseball. Remember, daily we're brought to you by RMB Builders. Our friends over at RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois, brings you our show daily. Make sure and follow them on Instagram. Our phone line is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group, Real Doctors, Real Solutions, Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan. You can get in touch with those guys over at Metropolitan Health Group. Katie is in this morning. Stewie is here. live on this Wednesday. How we feeling?
Stewie controlling our new ticker.
Yeah, looks great.
Doesn't that look good? Thanks to Jay, Joe, Lloyd, Stewie, everybody, right?
A lot of work behind the
Lot of
scenes.
work.
A lot
Look
of
how
work behind the
good we
scenes.
look.
Another sellable piece. If you're interested out there,
Yeah.
putting your logo daily.
Right where that FM logo is could be your name or company logo. So call me, email
on
me,
the,
DM
on the
me.
Jordy Culotta show ticker that has just been put into production. Tigers roll last night. Jordan Thompson, as we said, came up with a couple of players on and changed the score. I believe it was 4-4 when Thompson got up to bat. Jared Jones, Bear was on base. Braden Joe Bear was on base. Both of those guys had gotten on by walks, and Thompson stepped up and sent one over the fence to give LSU a 3-run lead. And as we said, they really never looked back last night. Griffin Herring got his first collegiate win as he was working 2 1/3 in relief last night as LSU looked pretty good in the midweek to get back on track, as we said, versus Central Arkansas, and things will ratchet up again this weekend.
But that was scary for a minute, right? Were
I
you a little
think
bit
so.
worried?
Well,
A little bit worried?
you know what? This team, I don't really stress them.
I was about to say they hit the ball so well.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
mean,
Yeah.
like you really I was so shocked on Sunday. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know everyone
more than
was.
I would be kind of like not, kind of surprised to see them come back. I mean, they've got way too much firepower.
They do.
You know, I mean, like they've got to be so scary for an opponent. Just at any time they could go off.
Yeah. But I was scared. Was it the 5th inning that they were still tied?
I think it was the fourth.
It was the
I
4th.
think it was the fourth.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That was a little weird.
They kind of done this in the midweek.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they've kind of, and that's usually, I think that's kind of the temperature of midweek games around here. Even though Jay Johnson has changed he's changed the tone of them, where there's much more emphasis put on like every game now. You know, I mean, there used to be this big debate on whether or not midweek games matter. All the games matter under Jay Johnson. I mean, he tries to win every game out, which you have to appreciate. You know, I mean, not only as a competitor, but as a fan of the program.
Didn't somebody make T-shirts last year that said
Probably.
midweek games matter? I feel like I saw that.
Maybe you've avoided out of the podcast.
Who?
Out of my I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, Matt Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, one team, one pod. I think he
it
did.
was
I think
him.
he did make those shirts. Those were cute.
But yeah, I mean, like that used to be a great debate.
Yeah.
I mean, even Skip. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, even Skip would be like, yeah. You know, I mean, we're getting ready for Friday. But I mean, Johnson really puts an emphasis on all these reps matter. You know, when you got all these types of players and all these guys and all these, guys that want to play, can play. These are great opportunities for them to go out there and get an opportunity, get a chance. Last night, LSU takes care of it, and Arkansas will be in town this weekend. We mentioned Arkansas was one of only a few teams last weekend that in the opening of conference play was able to sweep through, and they were able to take their 3 and now come into Baton Rouge undefeated in conference. But LSU, as we said, still the number 1 team in all the polls.
Arkansas's undefeated?
In conference.
Okay.
In league play. And that's just 3-0.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just, I believe Missouri swept Tennessee and Arkansas swept Auburn. I think those were the only 2 sweeps in league play last weekend. But it was, but it'll be a great atmosphere at the box this weekend. Are you going? Anybody going? Anybody going? Anybody going?
Might check it out.
I think it's supposed to rain.
I was about to say,
Aw, man, is it
a little
really?
rain in the forecast.
Is it really?
Wait,
Yeah.
is this does it start Friday?
This is a Thursday.
This is a Thursday.
Oh, it's a Friday.
Friday,
Friday,
Saturday,
Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I might head on out there. I thought it was going to be a good weekend weather-wise.
No, it's
What's
not.
happening?
I don't know. Life.
Baton Rouge. No, you actually, you know what I mean? You're actually getting February weather. You're making up like February
Yes.
was
Beautiful.
abnormally beautiful, right? I mean, usually February in Baton Rouge is like gray,
The worst.
rainy. It's just a terrible
It's
month.
Yes.
not fun.
It was
I'm not going to
And
class
It was
today.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of hot.
Yeah.
Warm. The sun was out. I mean, it was like What's going on? At some point, this is going to have to be made up.
I know.
Right?
Why does this happen?
Someone is controlling the weather, and
Why
it's
can't we
not
just have
good.
damn seasons?
The
It's
March
spring.
the March weekends have not been the best. I know last weekend was St. Patrick's Day. A lot of people still partied, but it was cold, man.
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
damn
that
rough.
wind. I can deal with the cold to a degree.
Yeah.
The sitting cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
You
then
know,
the
like
wind.
the Colorado cold wasn't that. I mean, it was like the temperatures. It was like 6-7 degrees, but you're like,
It was dry.
It's
It
not
wasn't
that
humid.
bad. You know what I mean? Like I can still do this.
I can live.
I mean, 30 degrees with the wind, though. I'm out.
Yeah, the wind.
I'm out. The wind is where it's
Gross.
at.
It really is.
Stewie, is the music still playing? Just reading the chat.
Not that music.
So LSU will host Arkansas this weekend. We get another chance to see Paul Skeens as they'll be on. Did I tell you Thursday?
No,
It's
you
Friday.
did at first, but then we decided it was Friday.
No,
Saturday,
it is Friday.
Sunday, yeah.
Friday. 7 o'clock first pitch on Friday versus Arkansas. Game one of the 3-gamer as LSU will be back in action. We also heard Brian Kelly speak yesterday for the first time, first time this week, or since being back on the field. Now that classes have resumed, spring break is over, and LSU is back in spring football practice. And Kelly was speaking on a lot of things yesterday. I thought the most interesting takeaway was, and this is, kind of goes into where LSU is in the second spring under Kelly, was him talking about how many more players they have that are in shape, that are running faster, that are moving more weight. I believe he said they had 9 players that were clocked at over 20 miles an hour last week, when
Real
last
speed.
year at this time they only had 1.
Jeez.
So, I mean, it just shows you that they are building a stronger, faster team, right? He also gave a couple of stats and analytics on some of what was happening inside the weight room. And, I mean, it's happening, right? I mean, it's all coming together. I mean, LSU is finally turning into that program that I think once you hired Brian Kelly, you believed you were getting over the next decade, and it's starting to happen here in year 2.
Well, that's really what was missing, right?
Yeah, just a consistency.
Yeah.
Right. I think that LSU's always had the blueprint. It's always had the formula. It's always had what it takes to be a consistent winner in college football. It's always had a chance to be a national contender year in, year out, but you could never find the right leadership to really keep it on track for a consistent amount of time. You could dip up, but you would dip down, then you would go up, then you would come back down. It was never really kind of a Final Four contender year in, year out, a tournament contender year in, year out. So now with Kelly, you can see it really starting to take shape. And as he mentioned, you still have 9 guys that are out that are a part of the 2 deep. Guys like Mason Smith, guys like Armani Goodwin, guys like Deshaun Womack, who's probably billed as the top freshman in the class. If he's not, he's one of them.
Well, they're all expected to be back and fully healthy by season, right?
Yeah, all of them are expected to actually be back in mid-season, or excuse me, in the off season for off season workouts. And Armani Goodwin is expected to be back, kind of closer to fall camp. But
Yeah, just
all
not
these
spring game, right?
Yeah, no. All these guys are going to be available in the fall. But I mean, just to give you an idea of the depth and the strength, the speed that they're building, they're also missing a lot of headliners. I mean, you throw Mason Smith into the mix, you throw Armani Goodwin into the mix. I mean, you even put a guy like Deshaun Womack out there, who comes in as a 5-star type recruit who's expected to play very early on in his true freshman season. I mean, you're still talking about guys that are, sitting on the sidelines right now that are going to be contributors. I mean, high-end contributors. I mean, Mason Smith, I'm expecting the revenge tour on Smith
Oh
to
my
be
God.
just, I mean, he is pissed,
I
man.
can't wait.
Just seeing him a little bit around the building and talking to some people that are close to him, I mean, he's on a different level mentally. I think he's kind of, back to those days where he is starving I mean, he is, so hungry to get out onto the field and, get that reputation back, restore order, really. I mean, last year, the way that he was lost, I thought was, man, that was one of the more brutal sports injuries that I have ever seen in person. I mean, that type of player, the timing of it and just how it happened it just was freaky, man. And then you heard Brian Kelly speaking on Denver Harris yesterday for the first time. I thought, Kelly was asked on Harris, his background, how he's fit in, what is the expectation. And, Kelly said we did a lot of research. We did our due diligence in terms of his background, and he had a lot of people speak on his behalf. He had a number of interviews with Coach House and myself. We felt with the culture we have put together here that he would make it here because the culture is really strong. He has done well early on, and he has no choice. He has to make it. So here's a guy that has been given a second chance. The culture's strong, and he knows that it's his last chance at an SEC opportunity. It was worth the risk, and so far, so good. Kelly speaking on Harris yesterday, and I have heard the same thing from both sides. I think that Harris's family has been very impressed with the program that LSU has put around not only Denver, but the entire team, right? I mean, there's no special exception or any type of special treatment for anybody over there. I think everybody is held accountable, and there's a respect on both sides, from the player to the coach and from the coach to the player. And I believe that has done a lot of good things for Denver Harris as far as just keeping him on task, on time, and not allowing distractions. Did he make mistakes at Texas A&M? He did. He made some decisions that I think he wants back. His family is not, proud of. Harris obviously not proud of. But when you take a step, away from it, like Kelly said, and you do some research, you talk to people, you listen to people, you find out the facts of what was going on, and then you get some background on just the culture that he was coming from, right? I mean, notice how many times Kelly mentions in a 40-second soundbite culture. And I know that culture to a lot of people, some of it is BS, and a lot can be covered up by winning. But when you come in like Brian Kelly did to a place and take over in the state that LSU football was in the day that he stepped in, you had to rebuild that. You had to restore some type of belief and checks and balance system to keep everybody in line. There had to be something to buy into, and there had to be repercussions if you didn't step aboard. And that's what Kelly has created here in just a very short amount of time. And he's done it by keeping the respect of his players, right? I mean, there was one misconception, if I can come out and say that after a year of watching Kelly work, of, a little bit over a year, and seeing him go into year two, if there was one thing that I was totally wrong about and had a misconception on how Kelly was going to handle and build the program, was I thought he was going to do it with a personality and an attitude that was very off-putting, that was very unapproachable, that was not accessible, when it has been completely the opposite of that. He has been extremely transparent. He's been, I think, fantastic with the media. His messaging seems to always hit and be on point. And behind the scenes, when you get an evaluation or at least talk to some of the players, there's a real respect and a real, genuine, I think, relationship there with these guys. That when watching him at Notre Dame and seeing from afar and not having any type of, detailed information to make any judgment on, it just seemed that was his style, that it was just, kind of very rigid and, a lot of red-faced and a lot of yelling and a lot of, getting in people's face and, a lot of stuff that you just were like, wow, I didn't know you could still do that in the 2020s. I didn't know you could still lead like that. But since he's been in Baton Rouge, it has been anti that. I mean, I really and truly, I have not seen a peep of that. I've not even seen like on the sideline. I mean, I've seen some things with him and Jaden Daniels where he gets annoyed and aggravated during the games on, just kind of what the quarterback's seeing and the decision, ultimately what the quarterback made, kind of pisses him off, and he slams his play sheet, and he may, kind of see that red face that you saw a couple of times at Notre Dame. But I mean, how many times did you watch a Notre Dame game and Brian Kelly just like fly off the handle?
I mean, he would turn purple. I mean, getting into people's face. Yeah.
I mean, it was almost like he was challenging them to fight.
I know.
I don't know if you could get away with that in 2023.
I don't know.
I don't know if you could really like get in somebody's face like that anymore and, MF them and probably say something that, in the heat of the moment you'd like to have back. You probably have to be more careful of that here. But I mean, I didn't know he could temper it down so much where you don't even see it.
I know. He does a great job with that.
It's never even a threat.
Right.
Like, I don't even think that it's a totally different. Now, look, man, $100 million guaranteed can make you chill out.
Yes, it can. Yes, it
but
can.
One thing that I think that we can't argue is whether the money has loosened him up from a personality standpoint. He still has his edge.
Right.
He still has his competitive edge, and for what he is, tasked to do, he looks ahead of schedule at LSU. So, it was good to hear from Kelly yesterday. Jacques will be here in a couple of minutes, and Jacques going to stop by in studio at 7:30. And Jacques asked him specifically about Emery Jones. And, Jacques and I a couple of weeks ago were kind of comparing stories and comparing notes to people that we were talking to, in and around the program of just what was happening in the offseason and some of the names that people were excited about or whether people were disappointed in. And Emery Jones's name comes up so many times throughout conversations when you just, kind of information seek LSU football with trusted sources and people that are connected to the program that it almost seems fake. It almost seems like they got together and were like, hey, look, if anybody ever asks about the program, just make sure we mention Emery. Because it's just – and then you hear Brian Kelly of what he said about him yesterday, right? I mean, I believe Jacques asked him kind of, what we were talking about of, hey, a lot of people mention Emery Jones when you ask what's going on over here. What's been your takeaway of it? I mean, he just goes into a 90-second answer that if you're related to Emery Jones, I know Emery's mom is so proud and is a great mother, and the family is so supportive of what Emery is accomplishing and has done up to this point, and playing as a freshman and what he does academically and how he handles himself off the field, and those are all the things that we knew when he was at Catholic High. That's what we knew when he came and sat in here a couple of times before he even reported to camp. It was what we knew after he came in after the Mississippi State game when he made the open field tackle and special teams, right? I mean, it was, you've always known he's special, but to hear somebody like Brian Kelly speak of really the way that he's representing and handling himself inside the program is, the more you realize that Emery Jones and even Will Campbell, for that matter, they are extreme outliers in a very competitive sport. I don't know when the next time, I sure as can't think of when the last time, I don't ever think it has happened, of when LSU has gotten production so much on the field and the leadership that comes along with a guy like Emery Jones. I mean, what a just soothing, a source of being able to get a good night's sleep if you're a coach does Emery Jones give you, knowing that guy is on your roster and that he's going to be around. He's got to be around for this year and next, at least. I expect him to have the captaincy on his sleeve maybe as early this year as this year. I expect him to be at SEC Media Days as early as this year. He is someone that he's so far out in advance of what you thought you were getting in return. You know what I mean? Like, you think about what you get in return from Emery Jones. You get a starter on the offensive line. You get an all-league type performer. You get a freshman All-American type performer on the field. As Brian Kelly said yesterday, he's never been on a list. He's never made any list. And Kelly was like, and when I say list, I mean like list that, not performing, late, academics, weight room, nutrition, whatever it may be. Never on a list.
He's a poster child for like what you want as a whole player.
Always on time. Always kind of first one up there. I think that, I was talking to Brad Davis, and we'll have those guys back in here after spring and get some updates on them. And I can't wait to talk to Brad Davis about what the experience was like in depth of coaching Emery Jones and Will Campbell for their freshman season. I'd imagine that's as probably good as it will get with those guys, because for the next 2 years, right, Brad Davis almost becomes, he's their coach, and he will still coach them hard and coach them up every single day. But now it really kind of turns into development. Now it's just refining. Now it's just kind of taking these guys and making them as good as they can be with all of the skill set that they now have, all of the tools, all the fundamentals, all the strategy, right? I mean, they have now taken these two guys, Emery Jones and Will Campbell, and, kind of given them an arsenal of footwork, of hand placement, of, how to play the position at this level, right? I mean, like it Neville and Catholic High, respectively, they were just bullying people. They were just beating people up. Now, I mean, you got to play technique. I mean, Emery Jones went hand-to-hand combat with Will Anderson for 3.5 hours last year. I mean, that takes skill. It doesn't matter how good and how big and how athletic you are. You better be able to, land a punch. And, I mean, it's just to see the way that they have developed, to see those guys, man, it's amazing. Jones is out in the community. He's got a great head on his shoulder. He's a great leader. But, I mean, really, if you've ever talked to him, if you've ever heard him talk, if you ever met him, none of this is really surprising at all.
No, he's super impressive.
Like, you could have met him at junior at Catholic High, and you said, this guy's going to be at SEC Media Days as a sophomore or a junior. He's going to be a captain of LSU. He's going to be a 3-year starter. He's going to be a first-round pick. I mean, take that to the bank. If Emery Jones stays healthy, and that would be the only thing that could knock him off course, he's a bona fide, he could be a top 10 pick. Really. I mean, he's not only is he a coach's dream, but once he gets to the professional level, he is ownership, general manager, front office, like just marketing. It's a class. I mean, like this is a poster child. Like Katie said, I mean, it's just you can't script him any better than this.
You're saying he's not going to find himself in the wrong place at the wrong time?
No. No. All right, Jacques asked Coach Kelly about Emery Jones, and he just walked in, so we'll get his thoughts next as Jacques is going to be covering women's. Yes, flight this morning, 10 a.m., I believe. He'll be headed up to Greenville, South Carolina, so we'll talk to him about Mulkey and the crew taking on Utah. We'll talk to him about LSU baseball hosting Arkansas, and Brian Kelly speaking to the media. Lots to get to with JD next. Come back with us here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as we will be right back, as always, brought to you by City Cafe, citycafebr.net, and located on O'Neill and George O'Neill, over 100 years in business, where they have daily lunch specials and a brunch special every Sunday that you got to check out, citycafebr.net. We'll be back with more Jacques and the Jordy Culotta Show right after this.
Hey, Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
Hey, she's on her way up.
Hey, G, I got you something.
Hey, Coach. What do you think? Is this too much?
If you look good, you play good.
All right, then. Let's get it done.
Back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, brought to you our friends over at Katie's Restaurant. Check out Katie's Restaurant down in New Orleans on Iberville Street. A taste of the neighborhood. A taste for everybody over there at Katie's. Check them out online, katiesinmidcity.com, katiesinmidcity.com. Every Wednesday, we talk to our favorite from WAFB. He's on the sports desk this morning. He's catching a flight and heading to Greenville, South Carolina, as the ladies are headed to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2014, and WAFB will be up there covering it with the one-man band that is Jacques Doucet. He leaves this morning, and he's here with us for a couple of minutes. JD, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, guys. How's everyone today?
Doing
Beautiful.
good. Doing good. We
Beautiful
were talking
spring in South Louisiana.
It is. A little, untraditionally cold and rainy in March. It's usually like that in February, but I think we're making up for good February weather.
Yeah, it was, man, I went for a walk last night on the levee and near the La Berge there, and everything getting green, cool breeze blowing, just like the best time of year. And then we're going to turn the furnace on when LSU's hosting the baseball regional here in early June. It's going to be 500 degrees out there, but right now it's pretty nice. So
you were in the press conference yesterday with Brian Kelly, who was speaking to the media here now that the Tigers are back on the practice field with classes resumed and practices back happening after spring break last week. You asked him about Emery Jones, and I thought you got a great answer. I thought he was very telling on Jones, on just what he brings to the program. You've been covering Jones for a long time, since he's been at Catholic High.
Yeah.
Not surprising, I say, for us locals here that have seen him grow up, but what did you make of what Coach Kelly said about his sophomore tackle?
Well, you've done some great interviews with him. He came into Channel 9 thanks to our good people over at Gordon McKernan kind of helping me with that, and he came and sat down with me Saturday morning for 35 minutes, Emery did, and for him to be 19 years old, I think the modern athlete just matures so much more than previously. Darren DeQuana, the videographer, and I, we joke about. Remember when we were 19? If they put a microphone in our face, the stuff we would have said and how stupid we were, and just an all great leader. As Coach Kelly said yesterday, in his 30 years of coaching, what he gets asked the most by GMs and coaches is he reliable? Can I depend on him? Does he show up?
Wow.
And Emery
check,
Jones,
check.
He's never on any kind of list, meaning a bad list, academically. And it just goes back to the two-headed monster of Emery Jones and Will Campbell, the best friends who have decided that we're going to make LSU elite again. He told me that our first goal was to beat Alabama, and we did that in our first year, and we're going over there, and we want to do it again this year in Tuscaloosa. But yeah, those kind of leaders and that young, and to be starting on the offensive line as true freshmen, and not to repeat myself, but we talked to guys like Andrew Whitworth and Alan Faneca during the year, the greatest offensive lineman in LSU history. Todd McClure. I mean, all those guys said, I can't imagine as a true freshman
it's crazy.
Being put at tackle and dealing with the guys that they had to deal with, and so, it was a great answer by Coach Kelly, and I think as you talked about, Coach Kelly, I think last year said the second day of practice we had one guy run over 20 miles an hour. I'm trying to guess who that is. Would that be Jaden Daniels maybe? And then this year we got 9. So, obviously the strength and conditioning program and everything. I mean, he said at the first day of practice, last year we had guys throwing their helmets during practice or taking their helmets off or kneeling during practice. Hey, that's not the way we do it.
Yeah.
So
Chris Hilton, first day of practice last year, he was healthy. I mean, he can fly. I think Jaden Daniels is probably a good choice.
Yeah.
What did you take away from what he said about the quarterback yesterday?
Well, I was thinking about Jordy. A year ago at this time, we didn't really know much about Jaden Daniels other than he was a guy that started for 3 years at Arizona State. And really, when you think about it, the veteran presence in the room was Miles Brennan a year ago at this time. He had been the guy that had been in the program, and I think a lot of people might have thought he was going to be the starter, perhaps. And then obviously when the fall kicked in, that was nowhere near being reality. So I think this year around, now Jaden Daniels is kind of, your quarterback is the face of the team. And so now everybody knows who Jaden Daniels is. Everyone knows he was voted the team MVP last year. Everyone knows what he can do. And so he is going into this year in the offseason, off the field, as the leader of the team. However, obviously, as a player at LSU told me many years ago, no matter who you are, they're always looking to replace you, no matter how good you are. Even Joe Burrow, they're looking to find somebody better. So Garrett Nussmeier's there to push him. We know what Garrett did the last couple of games of the year, and we know what his potential is as an electric playmaker. So that dynamic. Coach Kelly, I think that was the first question. And I think he talked about Jaden's strength and conditioning and some other things. I think I'd heard that Jaden wants to get up to about 215, 220 maybe. I don't know what he weighed last year, maybe 205 or something like that.
I was about to say he was light last year compared to that.
He
had to put on some weight.
Yeah, and the old story about his dad, his freshman year of high school, I think the first doctor that he met with for his physical said, "You're too light. You can't play football." He's like 130 pounds as a freshman in high school. And so just always so thin.
Well, that was the major concern the first part of the season last year. He was running in between the numbers so much. He was running in between the hash marks, and you were thinking, buddy, I mean, that's a big man's world in there. I mean, you can't be tiptoeing in there at 205 pounds running with your head up.
I think it's what fans kept saying, he's going to get hurt, he's going to get hurt, he won't last. And really, he did last, but then at the end, the Texas A&M game, he went down twice, and then the Georgia game, obviously, he had to leave the game. So
yeah. All right, so LSU football, obviously, with the spring. Mason Smith, his name has come up a lot, and if you've been out there, you've seen him on that practice field that's kind of running. He's got his helmet on, he's got his pads on, he's looking as if he's, I guess, what would be ahead of schedule. Kelly seems to think he's going to be 100% once fall camp gets here, right?
Yeah, another interview set up by Gordon McKernan that we did a few weeks back, that we sat down with Mason. And, Mason couldn't have handled his injury any better. He was definitely down and depressed about it. And this is the first time I ever could not play. But if you watched LSU, their games last year, warm-ups, he was always down there helping his teammates warm up. He made the trip to the Citrus Bowl. He was in Orlando for everything. When they went to the amusement park, he was there with the kids. Quincy Wiggins is warming up before the game against Purdue. He's down there helping him warm up. He spoke at the Mason spoke at the pep rally in front of all the LSU fans, and he got a huge round of applause. And I asked him, I said, when you were in that stadium, were you thinking, hey, 8 months from now, we're going to be right back here, and I'm going to be back on the field? I said, absolutely. He goes, September the 3rd, 2023, going to be one of the biggest games of the year. He had in his, the date memorized and everything, that they're playing Florida State on that date. So just another great, an Emery Jones of the defense, really. Just a great guy, great character, and, just wants to be out there and had the heartache of this year. I remember last year, I went to Devon Gotchaw's free football camp in Plaquemine, and we were chatting, and he goes, man, the one guy I'm looking for this year is Mason Smith. He's my guy. And so hopefully what we thought he was going to do in 2022, he'll do this year and be recovered from that knee injury and full speed ahead.
All right, LSU baseball is off today, and they will host Arkansas this weekend with a 3-game set that begins on Friday. Got back into the winning column last night versus Central Arkansas. Tell me what you thought of their first SEC weekend versus Texas A&M, take a 2-3, and then last night beating Central Arkansas 11-4. Really, the play of the night was Jordan Thompson's 3-run home run.
Yeah, last weekend I was kind of watching the games. I think like the first 20-some-odd, or I don't know, 18, 19 games of the year, I think I pretty much saw every pitch. And then this past weekend, busy with women's basketball, I didn't see as much, but the one thing I kind of heard from fans was a little concerned about the Saturday starter and the Sunday starter. Can Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd hold this thing down in SEC play? We'll see. They took 2 out of 3. I've certainly seen LSU be on the flip side of that when they struggled and be the team to salvage one game on Sunday. So it's definitely much better to be on the other end of that. But look, they're 19-2 after 21 games. Tommy White has just been feasting in terms of just putting up home runs and RBI after some people are panicking. Oh, this is a Mason Smith injury when he got hurt, the first game. Oh, he's out. That's it. Catastrophe syndrome. Nick Saban all over again,
Brooke Trout
relook. Money started the game last night, right? And then he kind of ran into trouble and they fell behind and then they came back. Yeah, Jordan Thompson's just a baseball player, and a lot was made about the errors last year, and he did have a lot, but really late in the year the errors went away. The errors were pretty much, I think they had a couple, and it was a pitcher like pickoff moves to first that they threw out in right field. And really, when they went to the regional at Southern Miss, the errors went away. They're playing on turf, but I remember I think last year in Houston when they played Oklahoma, Thompson had the bottom of the 9th home run to win the game. So he's had some big moments, and he's just guy from California, great, just a baseball player, and needs to hit better in SEC play. I think he did okay this past weekend against A&M, but that was good to see. And then Dylan Cruz hits another home run. It's just kind of ho hum. It's just like Drew Brees threw for 350 today. Okay, yeah. Right. Jordan Thompson. Dylan Cruz hit another home run, almost to dead center. Okay,
another oppo for Dylan Cruz. All right, so you're taking off to South Carolina this morning to Greenville.
Yeah.
And Kim Mulkey and the crew make it back to the Sweet 16. This is the first time under her reign. They go back for the first time since 14. You've seen all the successes that this program has had. It feels like they're on the doorstep of kind of, being there again. What shot do you give this team, and what did you make of Sunday's performance versus Michigan?
Well, first off, I may be the only person that's thought of this, but I was a little nervous. The Michigan game made me nervous because LSU against Hawaii, despite the fact they won by 23, in parallel to what LSU's potential is, I thought it was kind of a C-plus performance. And Michigan was a veteran team, and they had a lot of size and whatnot. And but LSU, beat them handily. Obviously, Bob Starkey after the game said, "We haven't played a game like that in a month and a half in terms of our defense." And look, Jordy, if this team can shoot just 10% better, 15% better, if they can shoot 40-45% from the field, combined with that defense, no doubt they can go to the Final Four. And look, they've got to beat Utah. That hasn't changed. But the step after Utah is the one that's really changed, in which I heard how great Indiana was all year and their veteran presence and whatnot, and they lose. Yeah. So now if you beat Utah, you get the winner of the Villanova-Miami game.
Right.
And so certainly I watched some video of YouTube, some video of Utah on YouTube. I did not see anything that just wowed me. But I think it was very important for LSU to go to Sweet 16. I'm back to my original comment. I think I'm the only person that thought this, but I was like, despite the fact that LSU has won more regular season games and have been better than they've been in the previous decade, somebody was going to say, well, Nikki Fargas went to the Sweet 16 in her second year. Oh, Nikki Fargas went to the Sweet 16 in her third year. So if LSU would have lost and not advanced, that would have been out there for somebody to say, and I know somebody was waiting to say it, but I'm glad that they made it to the Sweet 16 and weren't just, oh, well, you won a bunch of games in the regular season, but you got bounced in the second round.
Yeah. So, Angel Reese had 26 rebounds last Sunday, and
5 on one trip.
Yeah, Mulkey said that she's kind of taken her game to another level here in the postseason, and that she kind of sees it in her eyes. Jacques, we've seen a lot of great athletes come through Baton Rouge, man. We've had a real cool job in front row to watch some really high performers in college, and some great rebounders, right? I mean, that Brandon Bass and Glenn Davis and Tyrus Thomas, and one down the line, Jordan Mickey. Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, Angel Reese feels like she's in a class that will, be talked about of just, do we realize how good she is at this? I mean, Sylvia Fowles, she's breaking Fowles' record at LSU that always felt like kind of royalty. I never thought Fowles' record would be touched within this close of a time period of her playing.
Well, Sylvia is amazing, and saw Sylvia the other day, but Angel's numbers are much better.
I know.
I mean, and Angel just has a knack of knowing angles and angles to the bucket and rebounding. And I think Coach Mulkey at SEC Media Day said the first time we were playing pickup games, nobody on our team could rebound against her. And Mulkey was worried about the rest of the team, like,
what are we going to do?
We suck, Right. This girl is just killing us. And but it's more about Angel Reese's greatness than anything else. And, you see her get a rebound, and there'll be 3 defenders there, and she somehow figures out how to get 1 dribble, 2 dribble to the hoop, or, take the ball down the floor like a guard and drive it to the hoop. And,
The comparison of Rodman, I think, is fair because, look, by no means I'm saying it's just the way that they get to the ball. Like Rodman would bounce and tip and, he would like almost play volleyball with the basketball to get him into a place where he could grab it. Angel Reese uses her body and her length and understands, like you said, kind of the dimensions of how to make herself get to a place more and better than I can recall anybody on a basketball floor. It's like she's got these go-go gadget arms. It's also kind of looks like she goes over the back, but then the closer you get to the floor and you watch her play, she's not. She's just kind of using her body and playing straight up and just kind of tips it to herself. She's got the best, like literally, like she would be an incredible wide receiver in my opinion because her hands gobble up everything. Everything that's around her, she snaps. Everything is so easy to grab. I can't really remember an athlete that does a skill in basketball as well as she does rebounding. She's
15 and a half a game.
She had 10 in the first quarter of the night.
She's done this. What was the Ole Miss game? 36 and 20 she had. That South Carolina game and the way that went has been her fuel moving forward since that day. And to her defense, South Carolina had 3 monsters inside, and it was kind of hard for her to, but I'm sure she's been thinking about that. And if the brackets go the way they could go, they could meet in the national championship. So we'll see how that goes. And LaDeja is important too, playing off. I agree. Off of her. LaDeja kind of quietly goes about getting 10 points, 10 rebounds, but she's a big addition. And so Jasmine Carson kind of catching lightning in the bottle and hitting those 3 threes in the first half, and then Flage kind of delivering the knockout punch with her. Angel just needs a little help, and Alexis is kind of a mind-boggling thing how she goes to South Carolina and she scores 25 and can't be stopped, and then against Hawaii she doesn't score until the fourth quarter. And Alexis is like, I'm not a volume shooter. I'm not just going to go start shooting just for the sake of shooting. I'm about my team and getting everyone involved. But at the same time, hey, we don't need you to disappear offensively for 3 quarters.
Yeah.
You're that good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if they're all hitting, man, I mean,
right.
they're very dangerous, obviously.
What is your Southwest Louisiana friends made of Will Wade as the new head coach of McNeese?
Different. The first thing I thought is I can't wait for the first McNeese Raging Cajuns game. And, we play in an arena, not a gym, Ed Daniels was talking yesterday about how that the night of that NIT Tigers Cajuns game, how he went back, he put the whole thing up on YouTube or their website, and he was like 200,000 views by the morning or whatever it was, just that. But I think it's exciting for it certainly makes McNeese a lot more relevant than they have been. Brings a lot more excitement to the table, and I want to go over there and talk to Will one day and do a sit down with him if possible. And so I think everyone thinks he's going to get players, and I think a lot of people spoke very highly of that new arena they've got at McNeese as well. They think that thing's great, and so it's one of those cases. Where a team like McNeese is able to get a coach of his caliber because of circumstances. It's like, remember Southeastern, when they brought football back, they got Hal Mumme to coach him the first couple of years.
That's
and then
right.
and then he moved on, that kind of thing. I think it's going to be interesting. I would not imagine that LSU would put McNeese on the schedule anytime soon. Too much to lose and nothing to gain there. But, and then waiting to see, how LSU's going to fix their own basketball problem.
Yeah. JD, safe travels this morning.
All right.
Enjoy
You're not
your
coming?
trip.
You want to go?
Yeah, right. Greenville, South. Where do you fly into? Charlotte?
Connecting in Atlanta and then to Greenville. It's funny. It's a small. It says 72,000 is the population of Greenville.
Wow.
But then I knew a guy who went to work in the TV market there, and it was like market 38 or 40. So I'm like, how is that possible? I guess there's just no other cities around, and the viewing area just keeps going. But. Right. I did not go to the SEC tournament. I did not hear good things. The roof leaked, I think.
Oh, wow.
And then the Wi-Fi was bad. So people like me who really depend on Wi-Fi to get our stories back and everything, I hope that's been fixed.
Hotspot, JD.
Yeah. No.
Back one. All right, man. Safe travels. We'll see you next week. There's Jacques Doucet from WAFB. He'll be over in Greenville, South Carolina, traveling with the Lady Tigers and covering the Sweet 16 for hoops. We'll be back, and we'll have hour 2 for you coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Get going and get it done. Get going and get it done. Corrects done. Personal injury done. Workers' comp done. Truck wrecks done. Get going and get it done. Get going and get it done.
Supporting evidence that Nick Saban is a smoker in the break. Confirmed here on the Culotta Show.
About to have
this
Big
has been
Bama
a highly
coming for us.
debated rumor for a long time.
But I've seen a picture with a thing in his mouth.
You got pictures.
Well, I don't have a picture personally.
Man, can we get like a Google image of him?
Let's just Google
I feel like
it.
I could get a Google image of Saban murder one. Let's see what we got here.
I mean, I'm sure he was. How old is he? Like 70 something? So,
He's 70.
You know, yeah.
Is he 70?
I just typed in Google to Google, by the way.
Ooh, shook over there.
Oh,
You nervous?
Man, I know.
Saban's got you nervous.
I'm like,
They
is
say
he
things the
gonna
wrong
know
place at
I'm
the wrong
Googling him?
Katie?
He's gonna know.
Andrew Messina, Saban chugs heaters, question mark. It has been confirmed while his days at LSU that he was definitely a smoker. We have talked to too many people that were in and around Saban while he was here. He's a big pickup basketball player. Still plays pickup basketball every day at lunch.
He still does.
Well, he still does. And these, I mean, like
Wow.
confirmed as recent as like over 2 years ago, they were still doing the pickup. I don't know what COVID did to his pickup games.
Yeah.
I'd imagine not much.
Yeah.
Right. But like religiously, if he's on campus not recruiting, it is like a standing deal that he has like a noon pickup game, and it was
Playing basketball and smoking cigs.
Fairy tales. It was like, I mean, like just like these stories that would come out that Saban was notorious for stepping out in between the games.
Yeah.
And working the phone, recruiting and smoking cigarettes, and would come back in smelling like a bar, smelling like a cigarette in a pickup game. And then he was also notorious for like in the game, stopping the game if they were down and like exchanging teams, like saying, "We've got him.
Of course.
You got him. All right, check ball, put it back into play." Kind of like if my team was losing, we were going to upgrade real quick. Was kind of like the Saban ways.
He has hired somebody to scrub the internet because there is not a single picture of him smoking. And I swear I've seen that before. Somebody back me up here. Even just cigars. I know I've seen him smoking cigars.
Oh, yeah, they smoke a cigar after they beat Tennessee every time.
Yeah.
That was like
But
10 years in a row.
He doesn't strike me as a cigar guy.
No.
Michael Jordan, Skip Burtman, more cigar guys. Saban, that is shocking that he smokes cigarettes. The first time that I heard that, it was shocking.
But couldn't you see it?
I can see it now.
Right?
I can see it.
Yeah.
I still believe it's a generational thing.
Yeah, I do
where
too.
Like that
Totally.
generation of like 70-year-olds grew up in a time where like they were smoking in the delivery room at the hospital.
They were smoking on airplanes.
I mean, they were smoking in school.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I mean, there's like a great picture of a relief pitcher in Major League Baseball, like getting warm. It's like early as it looks like the 80s. I mean, like it's in the 80s, like in Toronto, and they go to like the camera like in the bullpen, and his pitching coach is sitting on a stool behind him, and I mean, clear as day, takes a soft pack out of his back, like flicks it into his lip, lights it like
That's the move.
lights it right here, just like tugs it like, and like watches this guy like pitch like 2 feet in front of him. I mean,
this man's on the cover of Sports Illustrated smoking a cigarette.
oh, dude, cigarettes it was almost kind of like
Dick Allen.
Okay.
I mean, it was
It
almost
wasn't taboo.
It was almost kind of a statement of
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, it
I mean,
was.
it was like if you weren't a smoker, you were almost
That's true.
looked as like a nerd.
Yeah.
You know, like
I mean, I remember all my parents' friends smoking. Like, I
Definitely.
remember them playing dominoes and smoking.
I mean, have you ever
People-
seen Mad Men?
Yeah.
I mean,
It was just like that.
the
That was
entire
real.
everybody was smoking. I mean, the waiter was taking your order with a cigarette in his mouth.
What do you need?
I know. Smoking sections at restaurants, that wasn't that long ago.
No, it was
Remember
not.
when there were smoking
They
sections?
still have Cancer Alley or that cancer room at the airport where they close
do.
the
That's
door
right.
behind and people just sit in there and just die.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Wait.
it looks like a video
Yeah.
ad for death.
Hold up.
Yeah.
There's a room in airports.
Yes.
Stewie, have you never seen this?
Where you can
I'm
smoke.
not a smoker,
You don't have
coach.
to be a certain age to see this.
I know,
mean,
it
you're
is.
just walking through the airport.
It's there.
And they have like grocery stores style doors. You know what I mean? Like that will like seal shut.
sliding doors, yeah.
Right? That like will like, but like like automatically will open and close. And I mean, like 10 feet behind these doors is just. It looks like a PSA for lung cancer.
Chainsmoking.com.
I mean, it is.
Yeah. You'll notice next time you're in an airport, there's a room you can breastfeed your kid, let your dog use the bathroom, and smoke. Not all in the same room.
Damn.
Might as well.
But just the smell of cigarettes.
I
Yeah,
know.
it kills me. It's
Me
like
too.
makes me mad.
It makes me nauseated.
It does.
And I think about like smoking in college and drinking. Like if I would drink and have a cigarette, how did I? Why? And how did I do that?
Like waking up and the first thing you do is grab a cigarette.
Oh God.
Saturday we were at the bar and some guy lit a cigarette right next to us and we were like, "Can you put that out, please?"
Can you do that?
I mean, we were outside.
Oh, outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
But still.
Well, I mean, still, they've tried to push smokers to the road.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, like the smoking zone now at restaurants is like a 3 feet area around a sidewalk. But I mean, like next to the asphalt. I mean, like right by the blacktop, the turning lane for Perkins Road is the smoking area for Uncle Earl's.
Yes.
You know what I mean, like you're actually in the middle of the street. You're
a group of people.
You're in that planter. You're in that median, that planter over there. Go step through all those weeds.
Oh man.
But I think it's still a generational thing.
Oh, it is.
You know, I mean, I think there's a generation that's still. But like, I mean, you know, once that generation dies off, I wonder what will happen to cigarettes. Because cigarettes now cost what?
Like
$10?
$10.
No way for a pack.
Yes, $10 a pack.
I mean, it is.
Oh my God.
Glance at a cigarette cost these days. I mean, I remember we used to steal 8 quarters from like our dad's change drawer and find a vending machine at like George's or Sammy's or somewhere like that, and that was our like underground play of getting cigarettes back in the day, was finding just $2 in quarters. It was like $2.25. You needed like 9 quarters.
Yeah.
And you could get a pack of cigarettes from like one of these spots where, you know, you had your friend playing lookout. And as long as you were pumping the quarters in quick enough and could pull the lever, you know what I mean, we could grab a pack of cigarettes and get the hell out of here.
Do they still exist?
I don't think
Cigarette machines?
They have them. They have them in the bars.
They still do.
I want to say
like
they do.
Loaded with packs of cigarettes.
Not the old school where you pull. There's
Yeah,
probably
no
now like
way.
a digital vending machine.
Yeah,
where
it's
you
like a
just
like a vending machine.
Yeah.
Like rolls it out there.
I mean, they're trying to price it out, I guess, like keep people from doing it.
Yeah.
But I've seen some kids smoking, and that makes me sad. Like high school
cigarettes?
kids.
I thought they all smoke like Juuls
cigarette.
now.
They do, but I've seen some cigarette smokers, and
Is
I'm
it
like,
coming back?
y'all- I
Cigs
don't
are coming
know.
back?
That's what I'm
No.
scared of. I'm like, y'all don't do this.
It's like the few and far between that are
The
like,
outcasts?
Yeah, let's smoke a cigarette today. All right, let's do
The
it.
cigarette smokers.
Do y'all remember your first time to try a cigarette?
I do.
Where
we
was
stole
it?
a pack. We stole a cigarette from my stepmom. She used to smoke those Virginia Slims.
Oh God.
We used to call them vagina slimes. And
why?
I don't know. And we stole one from my stepmom. We stole a couple of them from my stepmom. I'll never forget this. And we could not find a lighter.
Oh God.
Anywhere. And we got off of school early, and there was a pack like in the kitchen bowl, and we all took one. And we were like, how are we going to light this thing? How are we going to light this thing? How are we going to light this thing? And I had seen my dad light his cigarette off the stove.
Yeah.
We had a gas stove. And I, you know what I mean? Like not knowing, you know, shit from shit back then. You have to like kind of get down and look at it sideways to light it. You know what I mean?
Got to burn my face a little bit.
I mean, like, the whole cigarette shrivels up. I mean, at the time, I mean, I got like hair, you know, like a beard in my face, like just. I mean, like my eyelashes are gone, my eyebrows are singed, my hair is like now like curled up. I mean, like it is like. I mean, like 30 minutes later, my mom shows up. She's like, "What in the hell have y'all been doing?" Like, I was like, Bo threw a basketball and hit me in the face. She was like, "No, he didn't. Try again."
Smell like burnt hair.
Yeah, what else? What else have y'all been doing?
I mean, have you ever lit one on an electric stove?
Oh,
That's
God.
desperation right there. I've seen plenty of people do that.
Yeah,
you have
I've
to
seen
sit there and
people
like
do
hold
it.
it on.
You got to
there.
go to the toaster before you go to the stove.
Oh my God.
The toasters are much faster. If you ever go in and see somebody sucking a cigarette out of a toaster, bro, they've had a hell of a night.
Run.
You know what I mean? Like, wow.
That's almost like Joe Rod territory.
That
Like,
is.
That is.
That really
Like,
is.
That is. Hey, man, you got a lighter?
No, bro.
Yeah, bro, I got one. Come here, dude. Get off that toaster.
That's amazing. Where were you, Stu? Where was your first cig?
Damn. I really don't really remember
Stu,
exactly
wasn't that
what
special?
it was. No, it was not a big cigarette guy.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
You remember your first cig, Kate?
Yeah, it was that.
Who'd you steal it
It
from?
was so embarrassing. Nobody. It was someone had a cigarette at a ballpark, like a baseball game.
Wow.
Oh, God.
I guess I was in, I don't know, maybe 8th grade or 9th grade. And, like, they were all, like, trying it. And, like, you know, peer pressure, I guess. And I was curious.
Katie, hit this.
We were standing behind
smoke?
something. Yeah. I mean, they just, like, one cig. And somebody got it from, like, a parent. And they were like,
They're,
we're going to try
passing
this.
it around like a joint.
Yes, it was like that. And I remember, like, I didn't want to, but I was like, I mean, I just need to know what it's like. And I did. And I can remember, like, hated the taste. Like, I couldn't even believe people did it.
See,
It
the
was
thing,
so bad.
The thing for us was Black and Milds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that was a big thing.
Go in the store and buy a Black and Mild.
Mm-hmm.
In 8th grade.
Swisher Sweets. That was when I was in high school. That's what the guys did.
Hunter Hall, what about the lighter in the car where you pushed it in?
Oh,
yes.
I burned myself on that thing so many times.
Yes. That's
that thing
kind of
was
like lighting it
dangerous.
on a
Yes.
stove, right? That's similar to an electric stove.
I would say a little bit more intense.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely hotter. I mean, that thing will flame
that
it
thing
up.
will. I mean, think about putting that in a car these days with like cloth
know.
seats.
I know.
my God.
How did that not start
Oh,
like
my
just
God.
Like a car fire.
I mean, it's like all the time.
Yes. And an ashtray in the car. I can remember my grandparents'
I
ashtray.
could remember my grandpa like lighting cigarettes from
man.
that thing. Like I could smell it right
My
now.
great grandmother used to smoke with the windows up
Hell
using
yeah.
the ashtray.
Hell yeah.
Like I mean, like just like you would like glance over at her, like, can I cut this window down? And she just like wouldn't have any of it. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't even see her because it was a cloud of smoke.
And
I
they
mean,
had
it
like
was
the little
just-
notch in the ashtray where you could rest your
Absolutely.
cig. So you're driving and
It
just
was
have a
notch.
cig just burning.
Yeah, right. You could just put it right there.
Was she a tap it out type of cig smoker,
Oh,
or was
yeah.
she just let it
Let it
Oh, no,
burn
she
down.
would,
Smoke
she would
out.
let it burn for the ash that you always wanted to flick. Right?
Yes.
I mean, those people that have this
Oh
ash.
my
is real.
God.
You're just watching it the whole time like that's about to fall.
Get
Can I blow
thing
that?
knocked off of the air, like, let me tap that thing for you. She actually was one. She was like came from the generation where she had like a smoking, like a utensil. Like she used to put her cigarette into.
Yes, like
Like
Cruella
a-
DeVille type stuff.
Absolutely.
The long thing, yeah.
Absolutely.
What did
Makes
that
it look
do?
like it's
What
10
I
foot.
don't know what it. I guess
I don't know
it was
if it
kind of
was
like
a filter, if it kept your
filter.
hands from smelling, probably, like a cigarette.
That's what it is.
Right?
That's what I would think, right?
Because, you know, people would always have that gross hand cig smell.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
The smell of cigarettes.
I mean,
It's the worst.
It is the worst.
if you smoke cigarettes, you're just making a life decision.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm gonna
You
smell
really
like
are.
this. I'm gonna everything's gonna smell like this. It's
Well, there's just no hiding it.
No.
There's no hiding it.
No.
Like there is, as soon as a smoker walks into the room, and like
like-
the door opens, you're like,
Yeah.
that's
you just-
cigarettes.
Yeah, you just smoked the cigarette, huh?
Yeah, because it's on your clothes, your hair, your
everywhere.
hands, your breath.
I remember teachers used to tell us like it's easy to see whose homes are smokers because
Yeah.
like the papers that you would turn in, like there was just it soaks into everything.
Yeah, it does.
Everything.
Think about that inside your body. I feel like we're like one of those commercials now. Like the
This is your life on
yeah.
cigarettes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Don't do it, kids.
Here's your brain.
Yeah.
Don't call
cigarettes.
us. It's mailbag day.
I
Do we
don't
have
know
any
why.
calls or voicemails or
I think we
text
do.
messages?
I don't know why I don't remember my first
I
time
mean,
smoking a cigarette.
I know. Why don't you remember? It
it's
can't
just
have been
not-
that long ago.
It just wasn't like memorable. I
Yeah.
remember my first time doing the other thing.
Dip.
We
You got
all
a dip?
remember
Oh,
our
my first time doing dip, that was my last time.
Last
Yeah.
time too. Mine too. Still to this day, the smell of
Yes, it'll
It's
get
the
me.
worst.
Like I'm out.
Oof,
It makes my
Isn't
stomach
that
hurt.
terrible, like lip and throat type
Has to
cancer
be.
situation.
has
Like
to be. I
it's
mean, you're
really
just resting
dangerous.
tobacco in your lip.
I know. It's just soaking into your skin.
I mean, like you're actually trying to like purge it. Like you're
Yeah.
trying to squeeze it.
Yeah.
You know, you want
Yes.
more of it. I mean, it's a.
and the spit. David dips sometimes,
Oh,
and it's usually when he's stressed, and I'll always talk to him about it. I'm like, let me help you through this. Like, you're stressed. Like, I don't want to be like the crazy, like,
Perfect.
stop
Grab a
dipping.
dip and put
like,
one in.
Right? Like, I don't want to be like the nagging,
Oh my
like,
God.
don't do that. But I'm like, let's talk about why
What if
you
he did
feel
that?
like you're dipping. Like, why
If
do
you
feel
really
like
want to
did
help,
this?
put
Put
one
one
in.
in.
Exactly. But
Take that cup right
he
there.
He had a cup of dip spit in his trash can in his office one day, and I threw something over into the trash can, and then I was talking and then went and reached down to get it, and I put my hand into the
Katie, I'm about to throw up.
I mean, I just like I knew it when it hit, and I just was like gagging, like what do I do now? Like how do you get out of this? Yeah. Oh
that
my
just
God.
hurt my stomach.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
Our football coach, my freshman year, threw a dip in a kid's helmet.
No.
Yeah.
That's mean.
He
On
threw
purpose?
his dip
in
this kid's helmet.
Did he get fired?
No.
Yeah, it was like 2010.
Yeah, 2011.
Try that shit these days, bro. You won't even make it to 7th period of practice.
Not in the 2020s. We ain't doing that.
We got to cancel our
these
coach.
Days, man.
Okay, what was our text or voicemail? What did you say it was?
Our text was Cole from Tennessee.
Nice.
Hey guys, Cole from Tennessee. Love the show. Y'all get me through the first 2 hours of my work each morning.
Sometimes
very nice.
2 hours.
Yeah. 2 questions. Can we NIL our way out of this men's basketball roster problem to become competitive again? Had the transfer portal existed during the Les Miles tenure, would LSU have had success in the early to mid 2000s?
I'll take the last one first here. Absolutely not. I mean, the NCAA during that time period, I mean, if you were a player, it felt like jail.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't get out. You know, I mean, once you pledged and once you were in, if you wanted to leave, they made it so scary for you to even have that thought that, you know, most people didn't even talk about it out loud, right? I mean, like if it was easy as it was today, I mean, think about the players that came through Miles's LSU that were not happy. I mean, like, there's too many to count. I mean, name a wide receiver.
Jesus.
I mean, everybody from Reuben Randall to Russell Shepard to Terrence Tolliver to everybody in between. I mean, it just, yes, without question, the transfer portal would have been detrimental for Leslie. And the second was NIL.
Fix the basketball team.
It better. I mean, you know, I think that's really what the top recruiting pitch is from LSU right now has to be NIL opportunity and playing time. I mean, outside of that, what else is really attracting people to anywhere? I mean, that's the pitch at Kansas. That's the pitch at Alabama. That's the pitch at, you know, to everybody right now. And from LSU basketball standpoint, as far as the NIL is put and is constructed, here's what I would be curious about. I know this. I know that the pecking order of NIL, you know, where the attention needs to be, it starts with football, right? Like I would say that the first 65% of the goal and the reason that NIL is instituted is because and for football to become competitive and stay competitive, excuse me. After that, it seems as if baseball is definitely playing the NIL game, and women's basketball is definitely at the table and looking for their section of where they can eat. Now look, I don't know the state and I don't know the condition of the collective. I don't know what the bottom line is. I don't know how much money there is to really go out there and play with. But I know that once you get down those three, and once we've satisfied football's needs, we've taken care of baseball, and we're taking care of women's basketball, you look around and you're thinking, hey, there's not a lot left here to play with. Now, from a basketball standpoint, one of the positives that you can go into is that you don't need a lot. You know, I mean, I know that that's setting up for a joke that LSU basketball needs a lot, right? But the sport of basketball, as far as NIL is concerned, I mean, if you just have, you know, one or two headline guys that you really have to pay, then hopefully you can still go out there and recruit it, right? I mean, you can still go out there and find guys that can come in and still there has to be some guys that still play for the love of the game. And, I guess you scratch up a couple of minimal deals for some guys that are looking to get some love, but, ultimately the cash and the collective, I don't think that it's just an endless pit of money. I don't think that it's just like, hey, yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? Cut the check, pay them. I don't think it's that easy. And if it is that easy, a lot of it's going to football. That's the way it's going to be. And I think everybody understands that. I don't think that anybody's trying to push back towards that. But if your strategy outside of the football department is, hey, we're relying totally on NIL to recruit, you better have a connect out there. You better have somebody in your back pocket. You better have a business owner that's telling you, hey, after you get past the collective amount that they're going to dish for you, I got you. Once you run out of your collective allotment, just come to me and I'll write you the rest of the check of whatever you need. If you've got that, then you're good. But I'd imagine if that person exists, the collective's probably on them and needs that money. So, the way that this thing is going to work is, I think everybody's looking for their spot at the table and everybody's got a good argument on why they should eat, but somebody's going to be left hungry. Somebody's going to be not as taken care of as somebody else is and feels a little slighted if it's going to be all, in-house check cutting from the collective of taking care of, whoever it is that they need to pay. But, one thing we all understand from the collective's standpoint is that football's eating first. That's
a given.
That's what's going to happen. And, after that, Mulkey's not going to she's not going to let a lot of people eat before she eats. I can promise you that. That's not going to happen. And Jay Johnson looks like he's got himself a pretty nice little lifeline put together of if he needs it, he can tap into it. Because, those guys aren't all – I know LSU baseball is the top of the mountain and you're selling a lot of goods, but in an NIL world, you're not getting Tommy Tanks and Paul Skeens for free. And, even Dylan Cruz for that matter, he's got to be making something. So, what do we have left?
Getting a call.
Men's basketball and softball? It's...
Yeah.
Who's struggling the most right now? Men's basketball and softball?
Yeah.
Have a take, don't suck. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Top of the morning, crew, from Jeff and Kenner.
Right. Hey, Jeffrey,
Jeff.
how are you? Good morning.
What's up, Jeff?
How y'all doing today, this beautiful Wednesday? The smoking subject, my dad was a heavy smoker, and after my mom and dad divorced when I was young, excuse me.
Jeez.
Are you a heavy smoker?
Are you a smoker, Jeff?
Pass it over here, Jeff.
Yeah, I got to get up
Jesus.
the cigarettes. He lived in this little bitty apartment, and when he passed away many years ago, we went in there to clean out his stuff. We would take down the stuff from the walls, and it was brown and white behind everything that was hanging. It was the most disgusting memory, one of the most disgusting memories I have.
Isn't that wild?
Oh, my God.
Nasty.
And that's what your lungs look like.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and I got a question. Is it Doucet or Doucet,
That's
Jordy?
a good question. I go back and forth with him, and I'm waiting on him to kind of
You
butt
really
in.
do. I feel like we say it both ways.
I've heard it said both ways, so I'm just trying to.
I think I say
trying to play to the crowd.
I think I say Doucet, but when I say it, I feel like that's not right.
Yeah, I think it is Doucet.
Well, we need to get this right because the whole boutique thing
right.
that was a big controversy during the season. We got to get this stuff straight, guys.
I agree.
Booty.
And by the way, I just got a breaking report. Nick Saban has challenged Nate Oates to a one-on-one pickup basketball game. Oates is going to go skins, and Saban's going to go shirts.
Look out, Saban's showing up with 5 starters from the NBA.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
It's going to be epic. Although I think Oates can post him up because, Saban is, only like 5'2".
Nicky will take his knees out. Look out.
Are they both going to be smoking the whole time?
No, as he spits out his chaw.
That's right.
Chaw,
That's right.
According to Hunter Hall. Y'all have a great day, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, Jeff, good to see you. My dad just sent me a link of baseball and smokers. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, like the amount of people that are like smoking like in the dugout. Look at this guy managing a game, Jim Leland.
Oh my God.
He managed Mikey.
Really?
With Detroit.
Wow.
I mean, this is unreal.
I guess, if there's a sport where there would be more smokers, would be baseball, right?
Absolutely. You can kind of hide out.
I mean, this looks more recent though. Like this is recent. This Jim Leland picture.
Oh, I know.
This is like
no way he's like now doing that.
Well, I don't think he coaches anymore, but I mean, this looks like within the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. At least the last like 10.
It's not like it was 20 years ago, for sure. I mean, those are updated Lions jerseys.
Got the updated hat on.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
That is funny though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't. I mean, Skip was sitting down there blazing for 25 years in the dugout.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
I mean, it looked like they were naming new popes in the LSU dugout for a while. I mean, they had more smoke coming out of there than an Allman Brothers concert.
That's amazing.
Skip just sitting in the hall burning.
Does he
calling
still smoke?
pitches? Yes, he does.
Yeah. I guess you don't quit. I mean, if you're like a lifetime smoker, basically.
I mean, who knew Michael Jordan sat up in his hotel room every day on game day and just would burn through 10 cigars?
Why?
I mean, that was my biggest takeaway from
The Last
Dance was like, this dude he's an addict.
Yeah.
I mean,
He just smokes.
He just smokes all day.
Yeah.
I mean,
How
like,
can
he
you
just-
do that, though, and play a sport like that?
I have no idea.
You know, without it affecting your breathing at some point.
I mean,
You're the best player in the world.
Still
you
the
can do
best. The best sequence of Last Dance is when he's sitting in his locker with the baseball bat and the cigar in his mouth.
Yeah.
And he's talking about B.J. Armstrong. Easy for a man to talk shit when he's got the lead. Make a real man out of you when you talk shit when you're down. He's like popping the bat, chewing on the cigar. We'll see. We'll see.
It's gonna be a battle.
Yeah, right. Headline in the paper: Mike drops 50 on the Hornets. Dude, I can't wait to watch this movie. Have you seen this?
Air?
Oh, I can't wait. The trailer is so good.
It debuted last night in L.A.
It did?
They had its premiere.
Oh, it looks so good. I'm so
I heard
excited.
it's amazing.
Did you see Ben Affleck? Like he said, he went to ask Michael Jordan what he wanted on the movie. Like he asked him for his blessing to do the movie, of course, and then he asked him like if he had any requests. He said the only request I have is that I pick the actor to play my mom.
I heard that is the biggest winner of all.
Viola Davis. Oh yeah, she's
is Dolores Jordan is the character of Jordan's mom.
Yeah,
comes off at you figure out where Jordan gets his killer edge from.
Yeah.
In this movie. I mean, people wonder how you can create an athlete that has this killer instinct like Jordan has always had, and then you meet his mom in this movie.
She's a killer.
The other biggest winner I hear is Sonny Vaccaro, who is always, and I think this is justly due. Anybody who has kept up with the shoe game, since like the 80s when it really became popular, one of the major players on the scene has always been Sonny Vaccaro. I mean, he has always been a kind of a name, a face, a guy behind the scenes that he was just always around. I mean, if you remember the Showtime that we would always talk about on HBO with the Lakers, Sonny Vaccaro was the guy that was recruiting Magic Johnson to sign with Converse. I mean, he's always been around these guys since day one. And his, kind of where he fits in here with Phil Knight and Michael Jordan and, the recruitment of him has always kind of been an undersold part of the story. It's always been Phil Knight, Nike, and Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Really, Sonny Vaccaro deserved a lot of credit for what people felt like at the time. He probably didn't get his just due. And it's good to see because I know that a lot of people within the sport really, really love, respect, and value what Sonny Vaccaro has brought to the game. He has been... he's kind of been somebody that's always been behind the scenes. He was kind of around Tarkanian's UNLV squads. He was around, a lot of the movement between Nike and Adidas and the shoe companies. He's always been this guy that's been in the background. But I hear that Dolores Jordan, who is Michael's mom, and Sonny Vaccaro, who is a shoe executive, are the two real big winners here as far as, how the Michael Jordan story came to be. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that deserve credit for it, and only a few probably get the recognition. Guys like Phil Knight and Phil Jackson and Dean Smith and David Stern, even to a degree. But there were a lot more people behind the scenes. I say a lot, but there were more influential people that may have gotten glossed over in the history of Michael Jordan that deserved recognition. And Sonny Vaccaro was always somebody I had known. And it's cool to know that Dolores Jordan, his mom, is another one that really kind of shines here in this performance. So I can't wait to watch it. Obviously, I'm a Michael Jordan fanatic. Jordan, for me, he was the professional athlete, outside of the Chris Jacksons and the Shaquille O'Neals and the Tommy Hotsons that, really captivated me as a kid, but really carried me through young adulthood. I mean, Jordan was that guy that, you fell in love with if you were in my generation, you fell in love with him when you were about 7 or 8, when he was wearing the gold chains winning dunk contest, and you were, kind of watching and following him through he hit the shot in Utah when I was 18 years old, right? I mean, he won the dunk contest for the first time when I was 7. He played for the Wizards when I was 23. He became an owner and, somebody that was always around the game when I was 30. Jordan has just always been that guy in my life that sports has always been, he was the representative of. So this movie, for me, I'll probably be first in line here.
Oh, that's cool, Jordy.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch. I think that there's probably a lot of people around my age that have that relationship with Jordan.
I'm just a shoe fanatic, so I'll watch.
Well, that's what happened. You're probably the next generation down that didn't really fall in love with his game watching it up close. You fell in love with his shoes. I mean, he made $250 million off of Air Jordan last year. Yeah.
Amazing.
He did.
Amazing.
I mean, if he did, what'd Nike make? I mean, like
Nike is.
I mean, they're still printing money off of him. Mm-hmm. He is the greatest marketed athlete we've ever seen, ever. Yeah. I mean, he's marketed so well that there is, there are people that, like, if you talk shit about him, they will come after you. Like, you're a hater. Like, think about think about LeBron. LeBron's a very polarizing guy. I think for our money, at least for my money, in my lifetime, LeBron James and Michael Jordan are the two greatest basketball players I've ever seen. Kobe Bryant would be in that discussion. Shaquille O'Neal would be somebody that's just kind of different than everybody else. But Jordan and James are two revolutionary players that at the time they played were the best to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think you could argue when Jordan was playing, he was the best. When James was on top, there was probably a 8 or 9 year period where Kobe owned that, where Kobe was the best to do it. He was the best on the planet. He was the best, or in that discussion with Jordan. He was winning championships. He was doing all the things, but James has held it for a little bit longer. And, I think that he's, similar in the sense of he's the best to do it right now, but he's much more polarizing. He's much more, loved and liked,
because we know everything
loved and hated.
About him.
Exactly.
Think about growing up. You didn't know that about Jordan. There was no social media. It wasn't everything on TV all the time. Yeah. I mean, it was totally different. We didn't know his personal life.
I agree. Jordan still makes the comment. You still hear the comment of what Jordan said when he was asked about his political background. Republicans buy shoes too. James, he's let you know where he stands.
Yeah.
He's become very politicized.
But every celebrity has.
They
all let you know.
And I think that's because you can hear what they have to say on everything.
But there are some that are just more vocal than others about it.
Right.
For sure.
All right. We appreciate you being here. Make sure and enjoy your Wednesday. Any more text calls, voicemails, Stewie, before we log off?
Text or calls.
All right, everybody, have a good Wednesday. Hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Wednesday's edition of Mic'd Up coming up here. You'll want to get a recap of what happened last night versus Central Arkansas and a little preview ahead of what's coming up with the Hogs with LSU at the box this weekend. Make sure and tune in to Mic'd Up coming up at 6 o'clock this evening. For everybody here, we appreciate you being involved. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.